How I feel? Blessed. What I want?
Get back slow. I love the way she rock her hips. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for hips, the shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's no beginner. She's confident. I love the way she move it.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We another Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, I'm coming on here with the video where we're gonna be talking about the Washington Commanders passing up on Brian Branch after telling him if he was there at 16, they were gonna take him. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're on the road to 7,000 subscribers. Please help me get there as soon as possible. It'll be greatly appreciated if you can help me out. Now with that out the way, let's go ahead and get to today's video. So shout out to Protect Sports Network or PSN Commanders Network for having me on yesterday. It was a great time. I enjoyed myself thoroughly with having being able to chop it up with a bunch of other people in this community. Some familiar faces in Tim Sports Talk, Ed Oliver, Louis T. But there's some new guys that I've came across with the first time. Josh Taylor, I believe his name is, and I'm sorry, blanking on my other guy's name, but shout out to you for being a part of it. I think it's Ballin' Burgundy podcast. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all for having me on. Now, today's video, we got to talk about yet another story that's came out about the Washington Commanders and just furthering the point, and it's kind of like we're just talking in circles here, but furthering the point that this regime needs to go, okay? Because they have missed on so many players. And this just adds to that total. So apparently, the Washington Commanders told Brian Branch prior to the draft that if he was there at 16, that they were going to take him. I know a lot of fans in this fan base that wanted Brian Branch at 16. And when he was there at 16, a lot of people thought Washington, could have got him. And he was there for the taking. But obviously, we know we took freaking Emmanuel Forbes. So depressing. But I'm going to let you guys hear what he said out his own mouth. And then I'm going to come back in and tell you guys, finishing my thoughts.
What team through the pre-draft process besides the Lions did you walk out, whether it was from a top 30 visit or it was from a combine interview, whatever, and you kind of walked out going, "Oh, I think that team might take me"?
The team I for sure that thought was going to get me was the Commanders at 16. I felt like they told me that if I'm still available at 16, they were going to get me, but I guess you can never take their word, somebody's word, and you got to let it play out. But everything happened for a reason, so I'm glad I'm with Detroit.
All you can do is laugh through the pain. All you can do is laugh through the pain, guys. Yet another miss by the Washington Commanders. They just had to have Emmanuel Forbes at 16. And they just had to have Quan Martin. Now, let me double check before I say something, because I know Brian Branch, he was taken in the early stages of the second round. But I want to know if he was still available when Quan Martin was on the board. I think Quan Martin was picked 47, if I can remember correctly. Now, let me see what Brian Branch, when was he drafted? He was probably drafted in the 30s by the Lions, but let's just see when he was drafted, because if he was drafted after Quan Martin, that further homes the point of we just missed on a potential guy. So they took him at 45. And Quan Martin, I believe, again, was drafted at 47, if I can remember correctly. So he was there for the taking in the first round, and he almost made it to our second round draft pick. Quan Martin was at 47, he was at 45. So he almost made it to our second round draft pick. So we had opportunities to get him at 16, pass up on him, but then you also had opportunities to potentially trade up for him. Because if I can remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but did we not trade up to get Quan Martin? Maybe I'm tripping, but maybe I thought we may have traded up to get Quan Martin. Maybe I'm tweaking, but I could have sworn we did. So if you traded up for Quan Martin, you just made it that much more important that you just had to get Quan Martin, right? So you just thought Quan Martin's safety was better than this guy right here. That's crazy, man. That really is, and it sucks because you could have had a absolute stud on your back and a pair up with Cameron Curl. You could have used him around the box as the Lions often do. Like he's really good. He blows Quan Martin out the water, but for whatever reason you had to take a developmental guy in the second round that you had no business doing and you had no interest in starting. So again, it just to me furthers home the point that this regime doesn't get it. They need to go. They've reached on so many players. From Jamin Davis to I'm calling Jahan Dawson a reach because of what we could have potentially gotten Kyle Hamilton or George Pickens. But again, I love Jahan Dawson. I'm not saying I don't like the pick. I'm just saying at the moment you did reach for him because what you could have had. But again, I like Jahan. I'm not disappointed. I'm not mad about that pick. But then you reach on, Emmanuel Forbes. You reach on not Percy, but you reach on Darian Mathis. You reach on Quan Martin. Like you've been reaching on a lot of these picks, man, and it's just very frustrating. I know there are a lot of, and we traded up for Cam Cheeseman. Like there's so many picks that this regime has done wrong that it's just like, man, it really is time for a change. Could you imagine a secondary field with Christian Gonzalez and Kyle Hamilton, or maybe we even go Christian Gonzalez, Kyle Hamilton, and Brian Branch? That's overloading, so that probably wouldn't have happened. But that is now, I would say, the second team that or second player that have came out kind of disappointed that the Commanders didn't take him. Remember, Deontay Banks said Washington. They thought he was gonna go to Washington at 16, but they didn't. And then he thought Brian Branch thought he was gonna go at 16 to Washington, and he didn't. So we're just drowning in our sorrows, guys. We're just drowning in our sorrows at this point. But what can we do? We're just beating a dead horse, man. We're going to go see Brian Branch ball out in the playoffs, and we're going to be wishing that we could have had that. But, yet we're stuck with Quan Martin. That, again, I'm hoping that he could pan out. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that he can be good. I'm hoping Emmanuel Forbes can be good. But it's not off to a good start compared to some other guys. And before Christian Gonzalez got hurt, he was playing really good. So we'll see. I'm hopeful that these guys can turn it around and get better under better coaching, but it just sucks to see the kind of guy that you could have had if you would have just drafted him instead of the other guy. And you kind of promised him that you were going to draft him, but you just saw what Emmanuel Forbes did, and as far as takeaways, that you kind of ignored everything else that was with him, whether it was the weight, whether it was the ability to get beat off the line, the lack of pressing issues, or everything else that was wrong with Emmanuel Forbes. You ignored it because you just desperately had to get a guy that could take away the ball. Well, information for you, Ron Rivera and Martin Mayhew. These guys right here, Brian Branch, he can help take away the ball just as effectively as a Quan Martin or a Emmanuel Forbes, because he's in better position half of the time, more so than Quan Martin and Emmanuel Forbes are, because they're not even on the field. You feel me? So, it definitely sucks, guys, but again, it is what it is. At this point, we're done. Hopefully we can bring the regime in, coach, GM, whatever, that can help now get us the best player available and stop reaching on these players. So with that being said, man, it's been boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe, hail to the Washington Commanders. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry I have to continue to bring these negative videos out about this team. First, yesterday we were talking about the team getting exposed about Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins players, and then we talked about Eric Bieniemy going to Chicago. Like, there's nothing positive to talk about this team right now. Not until Ron Rivera gets fired. Right now, it's a bad time for us, man. It's down bad. This season has bottomed out. We're on a bye week. Enjoy your bye week. You're not gonna worry about that stinking team. At this point, I'm just hoping that we can get number 3. I hope we can get number 3. I highly doubt it, but I hope we can get number 3. If we can get number 3, then I'll be excited. But right now, we're probably going to be at 4 or 5, and we got all spring to talk about that. Right now, Washington is just sitting in a place of hope because of the change at the ownership, but also at the stage of disappointment and frustration because we just wasted 4 years with this bum regime. So with that being said, man, it's your boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Let me know what y'all think about this video in the comment section down below. Washington could have had Brian Branch. They told him if he was there at 16, they was going to take him, and they did not. What are your thoughts down below in the comment section? I love each and every one of y'all. Stay safe. Subscribe to the channel. Like this video. Turn on post notifications. See y'all later. I'm out. Peace.